Hey guys, how you doing today? So, I was asked a little bit ago why I don't get a little more personal on some of my videos, and today I'm going to change that a little bit, and I'm going to give you a little bit of a background and a personal story to go along with this. Now, today's video is about Dom DeLuise, and he was an actor, a comedian. He was also a chef. He loved cooking. He wrote several cookbooks. He was great friends with Burt Reynolds. I first learned who he was through the Cannonball Run movies. He was a regular in Mel Brooks films. So today's video, I'm going to show you the house that he lived in and his gravesite. And then I'm going to tell you a personal story about when I got to know Dom a little bit about 15 years ago. So his house, he lived in Pacific Palisades. This was the home that he lived in. And his family owned this house for somewhere around 50 years. Now, in the very early 2000s, I wrote Dom DeLuise a letter in the mail. And I'd always had a fascination with history, with Hollywood, a little bit of everything. And I like to pick people's brains about the experiences they had, the people they worked with, and their experiences working in television or in the films. So I wrote Dom a letter, and he wrote me back. He sent me a signed photo, and he responded back. He answered quite a few questions, and we ended up corresponding back and forth, probably a dozen letters over the next couple of years. And then over the course of time, Dom's health started to fail. Now, this is the house that Dom lived in. Like I said, Pacific Palisades. This house sold on the market not too long ago for $6.4 million. But we exchanged letters back and forth for a while, and then his health started to deteriorate. He had high blood pressure, he had heart issues, he had diabetes. Last couple of years, he was diagnosed with cancer. So he was in pretty bad shape. But not too long before he passed away, he was in the hospital. He was having some tests done and things like that. And by this time, I was coming to Los Angeles regularly to do some work of my own. And he told me in a letter, if you're ever in, Pacific Palisades, look me up, stop by and say hi. So he had just gotten out of the hospital, and I got him a get well gift, and I went to his house, knocked on his door. Not sure who answered. It could have been his son or somebody else. But I introduced myself, told him about the interaction that I'd had with his dad, and he said, yeah, hold on just 1 second. He's here. He signaled for me to step in the doorway, so I did, and then he disappeared for a second, and then a couple seconds later, I hear Dom's voice calling out to me, and he was in the kitchen, this kitchen right here that you can see. He was sitting on a chair in front of the sink, and he had a parrot perched on his finger, and he had a little stick, and the parrot clamped onto the stick, and he would twirl it around, and he thought that was just the funniest thing, and it was pretty funny. But here's a picture that I took that day in front of the same kitchen that you can see here. Now, over the last 20 years, I've had a lot of things like this happen to me. I've always tried to reach out to people like this, especially older stars that have kind of been forgotten a little bit. And I love to learn from people like this because they have great insight. And Dom DeLuise knew everybody in the business. He had stories about everybody from Jackie Gleason. Burt Reynolds was one of his closest friends. But he was just the nicest guy and had a huge heart. And it was sad to see him struggling over the last couple of years. And this photo was taken, I think, about 8 or 9 months before he passed away. But the great thing about him is that he was always thinking about other people. Now, this was a Christmas card that he sent me through the mail one year, and I just thought that this was kind of cool because I wasn't expecting it. You don't think that people like this are going to remember you or any of these encounters. But he also did a drawing on the back of it, this one right here. I'm guessing this is of a tiger or something. But just the thought that went into this, I just thought that was pretty cool, and I still have that to this day. But here's a couple more pictures of his house, and hopefully you guys enjoy the stories that go along with this and a little bit more of a personal touch. I can start doing this more as things happen and as I have stories available with some of these people. But I just wanted to show you guys the house just because it's a little sentimental to me personally, and it's cool to see where these people lived. You know, this house, there wasn't much information available on the net until this house went up for sale. But it's fun to see, you know, it really hasn't changed a whole lot since, at least the parts of the house that I saw. You know, but as I said, this house sold for $6.4 million. It was his home in the Pacific Palisades for, you know, most of his career. I mean, I do believe he had another place in New York, and that's where his family was from, and that's actually where he was buried. Now, he actually passed away on May 4th of 2009 from cancer, and like I said, he was just in terrible shape the last year of his life, and it was sad to see. But he was buried in Calvary Cemetery in Queens, New York. This is his gravestone, and I believe he was buried in this plot with some of his family. But yeah, I mean, just a absolutely fantastic guy. And I hope you guys like the personal stories that goes along with this. I know it's not just showing the house and just showing the grave, but if I can add a little personal touch to this, I certainly enjoy doing that. But I hope you guys enjoyed this one tonight. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do so. If you like this, let me know what you liked about it, what you didn't like. As I said, this channel is for all of us. So thanks for watching, guys, and have a great night, and we'll catch you on the next video.